My husband and I, 28M, 28F, got married recently, and my sister, 31F, and I were discussing the wedding after returning from the honeymoon. We are very fortunate to have grown up in a household where my parents made very good money. They were generous with us, but raised my sister and I to be hardworking and not dependent on them as adults. My sister and I both do well financially, as does her husband, 36M. My husband loves his job, but it is not one that has a ton of earning potential. He and I met in college, so I've always known this was his plan, and we are very happy with our setup. During my discussion with my sister, she asked me if my husband and I were planning to use the wedding gift money from my parents to do a particular renovation for which we've been saving, but I was very confused because the gift, while extremely generous and appreciated, wasn't nearly enough to cover that. She told me how much she had been gifted, and it was more than twice what we had been given. After that, I couldn't stop thinking about why I had gotten less, so my sister encouraged me to ask, and during a call with my mom I couldn't stop myself from asking. Her response was that it wasn't my business, but since I did ask, my sister has chosen a partner that can accommodate the lifestyle she's used to, so they've gifted her accordingly. They also gifted me according to the lifestyle I've chosen. We are not entitled to gifts of any size in life, but I still can't help feeling hurt that my parents feel that my husband and I are less deserving than my sister and her husband based on income. Meanwhile, my parents are angry at both my sister and me for having this discussion and bringing it to them. Doctor, my sister accidentally revealed that our parents gave her a considerably larger wedding gift. Now they are mad at me for bringing up this topic. I, 52M, have 3 children with my ex Tracy, 50F, Michael, 28M, Linda, 25F, and Victoria, 23F. We split because Tracy had an affair with Stan, 55M, to whom she is now married. We never shared with the kids the reason for the divorce, as I didn't want them to blame either of us. This backfired as the kids saw their mom move out of the house, into a small apartment, and me keep living in the house and remarry 2 years after the divorce. So they saw me as the bad guy. Stan and Tracy let them pretty much do whatever they wanted, and I had to be the disciplinarian who made sure homework was done, appointments were made, and deadlines were met. My 2 oldest eventually came to realize that I was not the bad guy. My son, when he found out that his mother had put nothing away for college for him as outlined in our divorce decree, and she told him to take out loans. My daughter, when she realized that her grades were going to keep her out of her desired program in school. My youngest never came around. So it was a surprise when her boyfriend asked for my blessing to ask for her hand. When I expressed that I didn't think she'd care about my blessing, he said she insisted on it. She began spending time with me, being polite to my wife, and it felt wonderful to have my daughter back. I went with them to book the venue, and they'll be getting married next summer. I paid the deposit and the first installment. I noticed that she was becoming less communicative again recently, ignoring my texts or giving one-word replies, and not coming over as much. On Monday, my son sent me a post from Instagram. My youngest had an engagement party this weekend to which I was not invited. One of the photos was her with Stan, and it read, "Anyone can be a father. It takes a real man to be a dad." This amazing guy has been my dad for 15 years, even though he didn't have to be. I am so blessed to have him walk me down the aisle next year. #daddy'sgirl #future Mersks. My kids wanted for nothing their entire lives because I never let them go without. Even when they wouldn't talk to me, I made sure their needs were met. I texted Tracy to ask why I was not included. She replied that Victoria didn't want my wife there because she wanted a drama-free day. My wife has literally never started drama in her life. I asked if Stan and I would both be walking her down the aisle. Tracy didn't respond, but Victoria called me up demanding to know what my problem was. I repeated my question and she replied that no, Stan, her dad, would be walking her down the aisle. I told her that if that's what she wanted I would be fine with it. I told her to let Stan know the next payment for the wedding is due in November. Stan and Tracy do not have the money for this wedding and think I'm being an asshole. Linda says if I do this, Victoria will never speak to me again. Michael is on my side. We came back from our trip last night. It was late and my little brother Neil 5M and I 17F were hungry. My parents bought 2 sandwiches for us. I need to add that my parents are against fast food. The number of times I have eaten fast food in my entire life is less than 10, and I really love fast food. We got home and Neil was running around as usual while my parents tried to get him to sit down and eat, but he grabbed the sandwich and ran. At one point he went to the bathroom and accidentally dropped the sandwich there. He couldn't eat it anymore, so my parents looked for something else for him to eat, but we only had eggs at home and he doesn't eat eggs, sensory issues, and it was too late to get anything for him. My parents told me to give my sandwich to my brother and eat eggs instead. They said if I do this they will buy one for me tomorrow. I know they wouldn't, because that's what they always do. Every time I give Neil something the next day I ask them when they are buying it for me, and they say, "Oh, we are not actually gonna buy it for you." So before anyone could take it I grabbed it, went to my room, locked the door and ate it. Now I'm grounded and they say it was a move to make my little brother go to bed hungry. My husband, 32, and I, 30, have been married for just over a year now, and things couldn't be rockier. I have a good job and make a decent amount of money, whereas my husband made not as much as me. Due to this, and the fact he was still living with his parents when we got married, we decided he would move in with me and I would continue to pay the rent and bills as long as he put money toward other things we may need as a couple. My name is the only one on the lease. However, once we got married, he started to cut down on his work hours without saying anything first. He gave the explanation that I made plenty of money for the both of us, so he could just work part-time and do the work around the house while I was the main breadwinner. I was fine with this, a little upset that he had just assumed this would be okay, but I didn't say anything as this felt fair. He did do some work around the house initially, but spent the majority of his time going out to the bar, playing video games, etc., to the point where I was the one both working and doing the cooking, cleaning and other household chores. My husband told me he was laid off 2 months ago for reasons out of his control. I assumed in this time that he would begin job hunting, and I began to pay for everything. While I do earn a decent amount of money, it's not to the point where I can pay for rent, bills, groceries, insurance, contribute to emergency savings and finance the lifestyle my husband had started indulging in. I began paying for his nights out, subbing him money for trips to look for work, etc., all while I was under the assumption he would be searching for a new job. At least to finance his hobbies. About a week ago, I asked him how the job hunt was going and he told me that he didn't feel like it was worth it. He said to me that he was comfortable with what we had now and I wasn't happy, to say the least. I confronted him about how I was doing everything to finance and take care of our household while he sat around and played video games. I was being an ass here, I'll admit, and during this argument he let slip that he had actually quit and never looked for another job. I was furious that he had lied to me and told him I didn't want him in my home right now. Fast forward to now. My in-laws are understanding to an extent but are calling me an asshole for not wanting him to come back home until he gets a job. I have seen my husband in this time but never in our home, always out somewhere. I no longer pay for everything and his attitude toward me is making me question our entire relationship. He's calling me an asshole for doing this to him, and I'm beginning to think he's right. Am I an asshole? Some info about me: I'm 23F and I'm sex repulsed asexual. However, if someone loves sex, I'm never ever rude to them or think bad about them. If they have healthy sex life and they are happy, I'm happy for them too. So into the problem. My sister, 26F, came to visit me with her fiancé 4 days ago. They got engaged 2 weeks ago and I'm so happy for them. My sister knows that I'm asexual and how I feel about sex in general. I asked her as nicely as I could that if they do anything sexual in my house that I don't want to see or hear anything, or if they could wait until I leave to school or work, gym. She agreed and I thought that was it. However, the first night though we're here I woke up to the weird sound and it took me a moment to realize what it was. They were having sex the next room. Very loudly, they didn't even close mine or their doors. I just put my headphones in and listened some music. Needless to say, I didn't sleep well at all and it affected my school and job performance the next morning. There were few more incidents after that when they had sex in a shower and then again at night. Next morning I asked her again as politely as I could if they can keep it down and wait till I leave the house. She smirked, apologized and said it won't happen again and not to worry. Anyway, I was cleaning my room this morning and saw some trash under my bed, so I just took it out, and when I saw what it was I almost threw up. It was used condom. I screamed through it on the floor and just stood there in shock. My sister came to my room to see what was going on, and when she saw it she looked surprised and then fucking laughed about it. She said, "Oops, sorry." I was so mortified and I could feel how I was about to cry. Which is stupid, I know. I asked her if they did it on my bed. Why didn't they clean after themselves? She looked at me like I was a crazy person and just told me to stop overreacting and that people in a real relationships have sex all the time. How I should stop making being asexual, gay into my personality, and that I need to grow up and that normal men and women are meant to have sex with each other and so on. This triggered me a lot since a lot of people have rejected me in the past BC of my sexuality. Which they have 100% right to do. Anyway, this is where I could be the I told her that this is my house and these are my rules, and if they can't respect that they can fuck off. And also that if two grown-ass people can't go 1 week without sex, it's very pathetic and sad, and they need to learn to control themselves better. She got really upset and started to cry. Her fiancé was in a store, so she called him and they left. They messaged me and said that I was an asshole and I slut-shamed my sister for being in love and that I need therapy for my problems. TL, doctor, found a used condom under my bed. Sister laughed about it and started to tell me how I'm overreacting and other BS. Told her to get out of my apartment and said that she and her fiancé are pathetic. Edit. Thank you so much for all support and kind words and making me feel like I'm not the weird one in this mess. A lot of you said that why did I mention being asexual, so here is my answer. I thought that mentioning it will explain more why I had such strict rules in my house and why my sister used phrases like real relationship and normal people. She believes that if a couple doesn't have sex then it's nothing more than a platonic relationship and that no one doesn't like sex and that there must be something wrong with me. Anyway, thanks for telling me that what she does is not normal, and I think I will go and see for a while with her. Update, you guys are amazing, thank you so much for your comments. I took shower and cleaned all rooms from top to bottom. And fortunately didn't find any more surprises. My sister and her fiancé left and I got a text from their friend that they come and get their things in a few hours. I still don't know WTF happened or why it happened to me. But I'm starting to realize how horribly she has been treating me after I came out to her. It's kind of sad that I didn't see all the red flags before, but oh well. Anyway, I texted her and asked WTF happened and if they did it on purpose. If she is trying to convert me to be straight? If this is some sort of fetish, or did her fiancé force her to do it? I also sent her fiancé a text asking for an explanation that he blocked me right away. My sister said that I gave them very bad bed? That it was too small and uncomfortable for them. And I have such a nice bed and that technically it was her bed so she can do whatever she wanted with it. Which is true, it was her bed, but when I moved out she gave it to me and bought herself a new one. I'm a broke-ass student, so I took all the free furniture that I could get, lol. She said that she was sorry, but they did want to convert me and cure me and show that sex is a normal healthy thing. And it was also to teach me a lesson. I apparently have made comments in fun of normal people for having sex. And openly slut-shamed her friends and other people for doing natural things. I think she is referring that time when I called her friend an asshole for cheating on her BF. And something I said about a movie character being sexist and disgusting for seeing women as sex objects. Also for calling her fiancé older brother, 35 meters, a pervert after he tried to hit on me. My sister said that there is nothing wrong with having sexual attraction to others and that I need to get over myself. Also that they use so many condoms that sometimes they lose one? Anyway, she is still typing and I don't know if I have the energy to deal with her anymore.